while we talk about this, I'm gonna be doing my makeup, so I'll try to have the products pop up on the screen. If they don't, everything will be linked down in the description. While you're watching this video, if you're curious, like, oh, her hair looks a little bit shorter, I did literally just cut my hair today. So if you saw that wash day where I did the cut in the color, I think that's all I did. Same day. You know, we're just using our time wisely. So I just applied the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder from Vanessa Myricks. This is what she looks like. Oh, no, this one. I really like it. It's nice. And then I have some skin tint, some tinted moisturizers that Laura Mercier sent over. They sent over 3 shades, so I'm gonna put them on. I have used this product before, but I think it's like been reformulated. So I'll pop up on the screen which shade I decide to go with. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with the shade Brunette because that like disappeared. The number one question I've been getting asked is when am I going to relax my hair again? Or if I'm going to relax my hair again. So I'm just, you know, saying this to say because, you know, I know everyone doesn't watch all of my videos. I am not going natural. At least I don't think. That's not my plan at the current moment. But I do want to have more of a Texlax texture. So if you're relaxed, one of the things you need to be doing right now to prep for braid season, if you want to wear your hair in braids over the summer, you need to be planning when is the last time you're relaxing your hair. Okay, so for me, my braid season starts in April. That means I cannot relax my hair right now because I would only have about 2-ish months of new growth. And for myself personally, I like to have at least 3 to 4 months of new growth. Some of y'all out here be saying like you relax your hair and then a month later you put braids in. That's cool for you. Like me and my hair, the way it's set up, it is not like that. I have done that before and my hair breaks off. For me personally, I just like to have 3 to 4 months of new growth. Currently, I have not relaxed my hair since September or late August of last year. So I have plenty of new growth. And the reason why you want to have some new growth, or at least like this is my methodology, like, you know, do what you want. But for me personally, I like to make sure that my hair has something strong to anchor onto. And if you think about it, when you relax your hair, you are breaking down your hair and making it weak. So you are going in, putting all of these braids in, lots of tension, depending on who braiding your hair, on this very weakened hair. Of course it's gonna break off. It's gonna break off, or just be pulled out, honestly. That's just what I like to do. So I am not relaxing my hair again until the end of braid season. And that leads me into the next thing is like you wanna start like really, really deep conditioning your hair and like doing all the things for it now. Not only is your hair gonna like see a lot of benefits from it right now, but I think a lot of people put braids in as like a thing that's gonna heal their hair or make it healthier, and that is not the case. You need to put braids on a healthy, moisturized foundation to really get all the benefits out of the protective style. And that's not even just braids, that's just any protective style. Like, if your hair is very, very unhealthy, you need to get it into a healthier spot first before you put that protective style in. Oh, your ends are like really, really bad and it's splitting up the hair shaft. You need to go get all your ends trimmed off, cut off whatever needs to be cut off, trim up the hair shaft, moisturize it, and then put a protective style in to like leave it alone for a while. But for me personally, what I am doing is doing a lot of deep conditioning and moisturizing right now to make sure that my hair is in the best state for this style or styles that I'm going to be wearing for like 3 to 4 months over the summertime. Like, why do I wear my hair in braids and stuff in the summertime and not in the winter? Because it's silk press season. You have the summertime is hot, you're sweating, it like anytime you turn, you're starting to sweat, it's humid. All of these things, I don't want to be bothered with that. And then on top of that, like I don't like the heat as is, but then on top of that, like my hair is looking crazy. No. And then a lot of times, like I don't think people realize you can get heat damage from the sun, which my hair does do that. My hair is very sensitive to like too much heat. That's why when people always say like, oh, you flat iron your hair too much, my hair is doing just fine for the most part, outside of my line of demarcation. My hair is doing just fine. And I'm like, if my hair isn't frying off, like for me flat ironing it, like I think I'm good, you know? Because my hair, like in the summertime, like I would try to wear my hair straight all these years, like, and like wear it like relaxed and everything and straight out in the summertime, and I would always get like a crazy like very thinned out spot right there in the middle, and I didn't realize what it was for a long time. And it's basically like the sun is beating down on your head, and that's why we're seeing a lot more products pop up with UV protection in it, because they're starting to realize like, oh, you know what, you can have heat damage or damage on your hair from the sun just like you can have damage on your skin from the sun. So if you are trimming your ends before you get braids, which you probably should be, or you want to do a haircut, you need to be planning that out now and thinking about when are you going to trim your ends and when are you going to get your hair cut, and specifically what type of haircut. Because we know that one person every summer that has a fresh pixie cut and they decide they want braids. With what hair? Maybe forego the pixie for right now. Like, maybe you do want the pixie for right now or whatever. If you do, go right ahead, but just don't be thinking you're about to get no braids this summer. Don't put anybody, no braider, through that headache of trying to figure out how they about to do braids on you. Don't even put yourself through that headache of like, oh, I need to grow my hair out, and then you going through this awkward stage like to get more hair so you can have braids. Don't even put yourself through that. Just, you know, hold off on the haircut. Or if you want to cut your hair like and it's still going to be a reasonable length to braid your hair, then think about when you're going to do that so that you have enough time so that it's not blunt before you get your braids. So for example, myself, I just cut my hair today into a shorter bob, but it's February and I said I'm going to be putting my braids in around like April-ish. I have some time. This is going to grow out a little bit, okay? Now, I was talking about trimming your ends. Now, I am probably gonna trim my ends for the last time, maybe like 3 weeks or so before I get my braids. That's because you don't want to go into it, or at least I don't like to go into my braids with freshly cut blunt ends. So I think a lot of people think like, oh, I should like cut my hair and trim my ends and everything like right before I get braids, because then it's gonna be the best. You could, but then you're gonna run the risk of having some braiders. Let me just tell you, if you're not braiding your hair yourself, some braiders will be like, if your hair has just been cut and it's a blunt cut, I'm not braiding your hair, because it's gonna affect the outcome of their work. And it's gonna make it look like they can't braid, when in reality, you really just shouldn't have been getting braids so close to you getting a haircut. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna have like all these little pieces of hair that they can't tuck because they're so fresh and blunt, sticking out of your braids. So it's gonna make their work look bad. And I don't even blame them for saying like, you know, if you have a bob, a fresh haircut, I'm not cutting your hair. Because at the end of the day, like, people are gonna ask them, who did your hair? So they know not to go to your braider, and it's not even really their fault. This is the Dior, this is their Rose Gold blush in the shade Mahogany. It's not really a blush on me, but I do like to use it as like my powder bronzer, and I think it looks really, really good. Now, if I were you and you have never had a hair regimen while you wore braids, like you always just left your hair alone, maybe you don't need to start doing this right now, like as far as like getting things, but I would start thinking about what your hair regimen is gonna be and what is most feasible for you in terms of like what you're gonna be doing to your hair while you are wearing braids. So think about like, you know, how often am I gonna wash my hair? Like, am I gonna wash my hair every other week? Am I gonna wash it once a week? What is that gonna look like? What products am I gonna use? Start researching stuff too, because you know, once you get your braids and like whether you're doing them yourself or you're like going to a braider to have them done, once they step out of the chair or whatever, it's kind of up to you to like maintain them. So you also want to think about like, what is your maintenance going to be? Like, are you going to go back to your braider to like re-braid some of your braids? Are you going to re-braid some of them? I would also think about how long you're going to wear your braids for. Are you going to wear them for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks? And kind of plan around like, what do you have coming up in the summer? So let's say you have a vacation in June that starts on June 1st. You have a wedding in the middle of July, and you have an event to go to at the end of August. Like, if I were you, I would probably plan to get my braids done maybe a week before I go on vacation. I would wear the braids up until like maybe the last week of June, maybe the first week of July. Take your braids out, give your hair a week or two to breathe, maybe do some cornrows or something. Get another protective style right before you go to that wedding in the middle of July. Wear your braids. If you have your event at the end of August, you could wear those through to like the second week or third week of August. Take your hair out, give it a break, condition it, all that type of stuff, and then get another protective style so that it's fresh for your event. So you see how I planned all of that out so that throughout the summer, whatever my major events were, my hair was fresh for it. Start to think about that and do that. On my eyes, I literally just put the blush, the Dior blush. I usually just do a little bit of bronzer. So for eyeshadow, I'm about to use another eyeshadow. This is the Eye Tint by Armani, and this is in the shade 10S. I think it's called like Senso or something like that. I just put a little dab on my eyes. And I would also say too, that's another thing you should start prepping for if you're having someone else do your hair. You need to look into who is gonna do it. Start looking for that now, and I would even, like, if their books allow it, like, start looking like when you can book them. Like, if you know when you want to like wear your braids and stuff and get them done, start looking into like when you can book. So maybe they're like, oh, my books don't open until a month out. You need to be ready and prepared. Don't be that person like at the last minute that's trying to find a braider to get your hair braided because you waited like to the weekend before your vacation or whatever, and now like you don't have nobody to do your hair. Start looking at that stuff now. If you know you have a vacation, or you're thinking about taking vacation, or you just know you want somebody to do your braids over the summer, start thinking now who's gonna do your braids, figure out when they book and stuff, and get in there and get on their books, or just know when you can get on their books. Speaking of maintenance, I need you to figure out a nighttime routine for your braids so that they last. We are not getting braids anymore and leaving them in for 2 weeks. We are getting braids and we're letting them chill and do their business for at least 4 weeks. So I need you to figure out what it is you're gonna be doing to your hair at night. Are you a bonnet girl? Sorry, I can't talk when I do my lip liner. Do you like to wear your hair in a scarf? Personally, I have my thoughts about bonnets. I don't think bonnets work really well, especially for braids. It's kind of just like a giant pillowcase. So I personally think if you're gonna wear a bonnet, you should like tie it down with a scarf and then put the bonnet on top. That's just my opinion. I do have like a braids guide down below. It used to be free, but yesterday's price is not today's price. So if you got it when it's free, good for you, girl. But it's not no more, it's like $1. So I will list that down below. I have some other stuff for braids. I'll list like my protective styles and braids playlist, because maybe you want to look into that and see like maybe that's your way of planning. You can look at my braids wash days. I break down products and everything. I also am going to have a braids guide that's going to be coming out later this year. So if you like to do your braids yourself, or you just need help with maintenance and everything, you can get that, but that'll be later this year when that comes out. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope those of you that are planning to do braid season with me this year, I hope you have your plan in place. Write it down if you need to. Some of us need to write stuff down so that it actually gets done. Write it down if you need to, but I feel like it's better to start getting prepared now for this type of stuff rather than waiting until like a week before, because some of this stuff, as you can see, it kind of takes you planning like some weeks out. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.